So if you have a six-line profile in human design, meaning that you have a 3-6, 4-6, 6-2, or 6-3 profile, and you want to know what that means, then this is the video for you because we're going to talk all about it. So I'm going to give you a brief overview of the six line, what it means for you, how you're built to use that in your life, and also we'll talk a little bit about what it means if you have this as the first or second number in your profile. So when we're talking about profile, the lines or the numbers come from something called the hexagram, which comes from the I Ching, also known as the Book of Changes. So each of these lines or numbers represent a universal theme of humanity or a universal role of humanity, you could say. So the sixth line is the last one, and it sits right on top. And this is metaphorically represents the fact that the sixth line has kind of gained all of the lessons of the other lines, and it has this very top-down perspective and big picture view. And that is very much the case usually with people who have six lines in their chart. And we'll talk about that in a second. But the primary role that someone with a six line is here to play, no matter what their six line profile is the role model. So if you have a six line in your chart, you're here to be an example for others. In particular, you're here to be an example of how well it can work out by being your authentic self. Six lines are here to be this living example for other people. And it's less about them like going in and solving a problem for other people like it would be for someone like me. I'm a five line. I'm supposed to be the fixer. I'm supposed to be the problem solver, the solution finder. For the six line, the way that you really serve the world, as simple as this sounds, is truly just by being yourself. Like we really need six lines to be themselves because you're the model of how that can work out. And the other thing that we really need from six lines is that you embrace what you have learned from your past endeavors, whether they looked like successes or failures. Because the true wisdom of the sixth sign comes from that lived experience. Even if it was painful, even if it looked like you fell on your face, even if a part of you is like, oh, this was my flaw. Like, I wish I wasn't like that in the past. No, there's a great power that comes from that for the sixth line. I mean, if only to show other people that they can get through it. We usually, six lines are the kinds of people that we look at and think, oh my God, someone can get through that. Like that person went through exactly what I'm going through. And in that way, they have this sense of relatability, right? Without even trying, by sharing their story or being their true self, and just walking their talk and being their real selves. People love to watch a six line just be who they are. That's one of your superpowers. So there's that. And along with this lived experience and this kind of wisdom is healed pain theme that you see with the six line, it's good to know that all humans kind of have their lives segmented into three parts according to human design. But for the sixth line, they are particularly strong and obvious. So it really will feel like these three different eras for most of them. So for the first 30 years, you're actually going to experience your life as what we call the three line, which is all about experimentation. It's all about going in, getting your hands dirty, learning through failure and also successes. But it's all about doing something yourself and bumping up against it in order to learn. Like the three line cannot learn through natural talent or through book learning. It has to go out and try it itself, or it doesn't really get what it needs out of that. And just like the three line and people who live their entire lives as three lines serve other people by doing that, like they find some kind of, three lines usually find some kind of solution or they just learn some kind of truth through personal experience. So does the sixth line. The difference here with the sixth line is that once they hit age 30, about 28 to 30, so their Saturn return essentially, that is when they will pull back and get into their on the roof period. And essentially, it's during this time that they integrate all the things that they've learned through personal experience. And they turn that into the wisdom that they will use that will emanate out of them at age 50 or around age 50 when they step out and are recognized as the role model. Something that I'd really like to say about this is that there's this false idea that's floating around still that six lines can't be successful until they hit age 50. That's not true. There are plenty of six lines that become very successful before they hit age 50. Pamela Anderson, Missy Elliott, Stevie Nicks, just to name a few. But you will notice that these people aren't identified as the role model type or aren't really seen that way. Like you won't really have this like retrospective on their life, which I mean, I guess you could say for most people until they get older because there's more to look back on. But people will use them more as the role model once they hit about their 50s. And actually, another good example of this is Barack Obama. So, Barack Obama is a 6'2 projector, and he was elected to president at age 47. So it's about age 50. And the other thing I want to say is that it's not exactly those ages for many people. The founder of human design actually said that if you're not doing like what we call deconditioning work in human design, so you're not living as your true authentic self, that could be delayed, right? Like it's kind of when you start deconditioning that a lot of this starts for people. So it's not necessarily like if you start deconditioning at 30, then you're really going to hit your role model stage at 80, right? But it could be slightly delayed. It may not be exactly at age 50. The other thing to know about six lines, and in particular six line celebrities, is that they'll often like go dark at age 30, and then they'll just show up again at age 50. Pamela Anderson's a really great example. If you've noticed, it's 2025 when I'm recording this. She's blown up again. She's everywhere. The other thing to know is that during this on the roof period, that is when six lines pull back into this regal energy that they're really here to have. So the six line is known for being a little removed, a little detached, and it can seem a little bit aloof, but that's not really a problem because in order to stand up and shine as their true authentic self that doesn't really get bogged down by all these other influences and has this top down view, the six line does kind of have to be a little bit removed. And this is fine for the six line because they naturally have this sort of, I don't want to say detachment with life, but it's this innocence, it's this understanding that life is so much bigger than any one individual. And so they do really have this big picture view of things. It's like it's hard for them to get stuck in those small things, at least when they're coming from an aligned place, because they see that it's just so much greater than that. So, a few things about this. First off, the sixth line can sometimes look like it really doesn't care or it really doesn't want to get involved with you, but it's not the case that they necessarily don't care. It's that again, when you take into account that there's so much more than these things that we get caught in the human experience in the day to day, it can be hard for them to really get caught up in that with you. And the other thing is that they can't really help you if they get down in it with you. They cannot be the example of how things can be better if they're down, like commiserating with you. So, on the one hand, six lines can be so inspirational and so incredible to see. But on the other hand, they can sometimes seem like if you brought a problem to a six line, they might be like, yeah, man, I mean, I'm sorry your husband cheated on you, but like humans do that, right? Yeah, and we're just gonna move on. And like, I think that you're really gonna get something out of this and grow from this. And it can be like, what? That's not what I needed right now. Right. But in the mind of the sixth line, they probably think that's really helping you. They're like, I'm help broadening their perspective. This will help them get through it. But for many people, that feels cold and distant and removed. And not to say that all six lines are like this. Many have incredible empathy. And in particular, if you're a 4-6 profile, that four line is very one-on-one. It's very warm. It's very much about creating deep relationships. So it might be a little bit less of the case for you. But just understand that if a six line reacts that way, it is not necessarily that they don't care or they think they're better than you or that your problems don't matter. It's just that they see things from a different perspective and they tend to have a different scope. That's not to say that they can't come off as very condescending sometimes. You guys can be incredibly condescending, but again, not all of you. And another interesting thing about the sixth line is it's really here, it cares a lot about humanity, but it's here for sustainability. So again, when you look at the five line, we're here to sort of solve immediate problems. We are called in to be the person with the solution. We jump in, we fix it, we leave. With the sixth line, it's really more that they're keeping the long-term view in mind. So a really great example of this is Richard Rudd, who created Gene Keys, which is a sister system to human design and also takes into account the lines of the hexagram. He said that in one of the keynotes of the sixth line, he calls it philanthropy. So he makes a really big point to say that philanthropy is not the same as charity or giving one on one to somebody because philanthropy it's so much grander in scope. So while someone might walk by like an unhoused person or someone begging on the street and be very disturbed by that and give them money so that they can buy food that day, The 6 line will walk on by and may look uncaring, but in reality, they're so deeply disturbed by that that they go create a foundation based off of that. They go speak on that. They become an activist when it comes to it. They may even become a philanthropist when it comes to helping displaced people find housing, get help, get supplies that they need, so that the underlying problem that's solved, rather than fixing the symptom in a way. And I think that it can also be easy to get upset with 6 lines when they do this kind of thing because, as 162 profile told me, people put us on a pedestal, she said, of 6 line profiles like her. People put them on a pedestal because they are the role model. And because of that, they may then expect them to be the person who can also solve their problem when that's not really the primary job of the 6 line. Hu, the founder of Human Design, said that when someone walks up to the 6 line, at least the aligned 6 line is what he's implying, and asks them to help, like solve a problem, the 6 line smiles and walks away. Because it's not that they don't think there's a solution, it's just that that's not really what they're here to do. The other really beautiful thing about the 6 line is that it's always searching for perfection. It can be very optimistic. It can be grounded in it's grounded in its acceptance of reality, but that doesn't mean that it thinks that reality couldn't be better. And that's really something that the 6 line is going to seek throughout its entire life, is perfection. And another thing that Richard Rudd said about this actually is that the 6 line can kind of lose hope, but it can never stop believing in this higher perfected version of things, or their soulmate relationship, or their soulmate job. Like they're always looking for that. And there is this beauty to that I've always appreciated from the 6 line. Now, if you have your 6 line as the first number in your profile, so you are a 6-2 or a 6-3 profile, the first thing to know is that the 6 line in your profile is going to be the energy that's most familiar to you. And this is going to be mostly what you'll identify with first and foremost throughout your entire life. Now, in terms of what you are here to be a role model for, that second number is going to give you some information. So for the 6-2, you are here to be a role model based on your natural talents. And you're probably going to be a role model for other people, embracing their talents and what feels natural and easy for them. I would also say that what is going to help you become the role model is going to be what you're naturally talented at, what feels really easy and breezy to you. Now, if you have a 6-3 profile, you're going to be a role model for other people around experience in some way. So people are going to get even more from your personal experience. They're already going to get that from you as a 6 line. But for 6-3s, because throughout their entire life, it's going to be about trial and error and experimentation and possible failure, these people are very resilient. So they're great examples of resilience and all the things that you can get through and never giving up in what it looks like to roll with the punches. You will show people how to embrace imperfection in their life and make something perfect out of that. Now, if you have the 6 line as the second number in your profile, it's not necessarily that you wouldn't be aware of this energy, but this is what's known as your unconscious profile line. So it's really more other people who would identify you this way. And you would probably know that you are this way because other people have told you. So, or they treat you that way. So if you have a 3-6 profile, it's going to be very similar to the 6-3 profile. However, for you, you're going to feel much more like a 3-line profile for your entire life. So it's even more important for 3-6s to really embrace, the roller coaster that is being a 3-line, because there is so much power in that. Like literally that's what people come to you for as the role model. They come to you to see all the things that they can get through. So we need you to go through that stuff and know that it's not a bad thing. And then if you were a 4-6 profile, you are here to be a role model in some way based on what you have learned through being in relationship with the other, in particular, deep, very connective relationships with the others. So it's not like about the collective, it's about one-on-one stuff. And this could just literally be like you become a role model based on your connections with other people and what you've learned through connections with them. But something that you see for a lot of 4-6s is that they actually are role models for relationships themselves. So they will be the people who have learned so much about, connecting with other people and understanding the other, and, having this sense of open-heartedness with others, that they become like experts on that, even if they don't do it for their work. Like my mom is a 4-6, and so many of the things that she's taught me so much about people. She has learned so much, whether it's through people that she has loved to be in connection with or people who have disappointed her and broken her heart. Like she's learned so much about herself and is the role model for me now and has so much wisdom around that. So that is it for this video. If you want to learn more about your profile in particular and just the 6 line in more depth, because there's way more to this and there's definitely way more to your profile on the whole, I have deep dive audios for each each of the profiles. They're about an hour each, and they really get in there. So you'll learn everything that you need to know, and it'll go farther than this. And of course, everyone has two lines in their profiles. So if you want to learn about the other one, you can check out my other videos on my channel, which tell you all about it. But that is it from me. As always, you rock, and I will talk to you next time.